not a recognizable language anymore when you use a word and you intend it to mean one thing that only 2% of the population think it means. Then you failed.
Well, words can't be like solidified into concrete things that exist forever and are
Well,
defined
I'm
forever,
sorry.
like
That's the
your
only way you can have
dictionary.
a rational conversation. So, yeah, logic is completely dependent on a consistent definition of words. And they certainly can have that. And I'm just saying it is rubbing your nose. It's completely unnecessary. You tell me again. Why would he use that word unless he intended to be deceptive?
It's about seeing the context around how he's using that word. Words are flowing. They're always changing.
Well,
I mean,
whatever. You're not saying anything, so either undock or I'll kick you. It's just bullshit. Words are flowing. What does that have to do with philosophy? Absolutely nothing. No, words are explicit. They have to have a meaning and a definition. The definition has to be agreed upon. When you use a word based on a definition that only 2% of the population has, you are failing to communicate. And when you're a professor of communication, you must be obviously failing to communicate quite on purpose.
why throw out that a word just, I don't know, just looked at isolated without the sentence around it doesn't mean anything. You got to look at what context is being used in, the
All right,
sentences
whatever. I,
it's
I,
being
I
used
told you
in.
to come up with a better
You understand?
argument or get the hell out, and you didn't do either one, so fuck you.
Walk the plank.
Yeah, like in the past, the popular religions were like Hinduism and Greek mythology and Roman mythology, and those were like systems with clearly defined characteristics, and all of the gods had names and personalities. And then we transitioned into monotheism, um, and like we lost a lot of the the definitions and the specific characteristics. Um, I'm just mean we as humanity. Uh, Basically, as we acquire more scientific and mathematical knowledge, um, in directly inverse proportion, the religions become decharacterized until the point where you have people today like Professor Anton and Matt, just basically having a deity that has no characteristics. It's just nature itself.
Yeah, well, and what they're glorifying is storytelling. They're conceding that what they're saying is a pile of shit. They'll admit it, but they'll say it like somehow that's what you're supposed to do. That's what a human must do. A human must have a pile of shit narrative to live by, because reality isn't going to make them able to live. And so, because the prime director of his living, they must have this bullshit narrative. And that's because they won't even allow us to have a conversation about the rationality of the living premise in the first place. But yeah, I mean, if their premise that survival was the only thing that mattered, then I guess you could make the argument that the lie would be better, more effective at keeping us alive, because obviously that's the reason why you're going to survive is because you have a lie. The truth will not make you survive.
Well, I agree. Sorry. Yeah, damn it. Sorry. Yeah, I agree with the fact that I don't really find it all that flattering, this whimsical use of random metaphors as an excuse for just making up whatever fucking reality you want. On the other hand, I don't also want to prescribe to this really constrictive use of dictionary definitions. I think that limits our conception of reality, and if it limits our conception of reality, it's not being open-minded to to another reality, which could possibly exist somewhere out there.
Well, whatever. Look, I'm not saying you have to glue every word. Like, you could call somebody a penis head, and, it's an abuse of two words. But whatever. I mean, there is you can't. I mean, there's a line, and the line is definitely crossed when you say 1 minute there's no God, and the next minute you use a word like sacred. I mean, that's just fucking with people's heads. That's just asking to be misunderstood. That's my only argument. You don't go. You don't need. You can use explicit language. You don't have to use these big words that cover a whole paragraph of text. You can actually say a couple of sentences and be more specific and descriptive. You don't have to keep relying on words like historicity and just assume that somebody knows what the fuck you're talking about.
Well, actually, historicity is a Hegelian term. It means the conception of how ideas have evolved throughout the ages.
I'm just saying there's no reason to use the word. I'm just saying if you're going to have a conversation, why not take the time to be more explicit with more general sentences, because they're less likely to be misunderstood. I mean, if you use words like big blob, floating many over, and that's all you say, big blob floating many over, then it could be, hey asshole, I'm talking. Then it could be anything from the Goodyear blimp, to an attacking Godzilla, because of the poetic language I've used to describe it. But if I was a little bit more explicit, I could have described it, and then people would know exactly that I was talking about the Goodyear blimp. You know what I'm just saying, the language should be explicit.
Okay, I was going to say that Hayden looked like he was about to have something to say, but he docked out. But yeah, I do agree they should be more. They should really have more videos about an introduction to the ways in which they're using their words. Like whenever Professor Anton uses the divine and cosmos, I completely don't agree with that. I think it sounds new agey. I think it sounds whimsical, and I just don't personally agree with it. But on the other hand, I just don't agree with this conflated constrictive dictionary definition. But anyway, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, I think we'd be a hell of a lot better off if we use words that everybody understands and that everybody has a common definition of. Because as soon as you use this ambiguous language, you're just asking for trouble.
Phantasmagorical?
Yeah, well, that one's okay because I'm not using it like the phantasmagorical was attacking the Empire State Building, okay? I'm just using it like asshole. You don't need to have an explicit definition of asshole. You know it's an insult, and that's all phantasmagorical is.
Well, Dana was trying to get into the conversation. Go ahead.
I guess one of my big complaints about Professor Anton is how he uses the word gift. I mean, I don't even recognize any sense of gift in the way that he uses the term.
The way he says it too, he says gift character, as if it's the very nature of the thing that makes it so explicitly a gift. And you're like, no, the very nature of it is completely ungift-like. It has no gift components by its character. The only place it can have any perception of a gift component is through someone's perception of it. Somebody might be fooled and think it's a gift, but there's nothing in its character itself that screams, this is a gift.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
I can't believe he was saying, like, humanity has a need to return the gift of being alive to nature, so we have to make some kind of sacrifice.
Guilty. We're all somehow feeling guilty, and that's why we invented God, is because we wanted somebody to spank us, because we felt so guilty for not being good enough to life, because we just didn't measure up to what life deserved from us. That was just so fucked-hearted. You know, like, we're guilty. Oh, I feel so fucking guilty for what? What exactly? What was my crime again? Oh yeah, somebody else had me. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that was an old psychoanalytic trick. In psychoanalysis, it's pathologizing, basically. They say you're avoiding something rather than going towards something. So, for example, when Professor Anton says that we're escaping the guilt of being alive, he's doing an old psychoanalytic trick and pathologizing tendency, whereas a normal person would say that we're trying to go towards meaning. He says we're running away from guilt. So it's constantly like this neurotic thing that is being passed down.
And we're back to that argument: is what he's doing is